a bunch of friends, and no one more popular than the $110 million man himself, Dealer Gaming. Congratulations, brother. I saw that on the 26th, you officially have crossed 110,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel. This is well earned. I have been a fan even before I was a podcaster myself, and to see you explode on the scene the way you have, it just proves that you can be yourself on the air. You don't have to toe any company lines. You can say it. You can say it like it is, and get success. Congratulations, brother, and welcome.
I appreciate that. Now, just imagine if I made some videos. We can't, though, can we? Because there's not going to be anything for 12 months. And thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm sure there's a couple of you watching. Welcome. And thanks, Boom, for having me on. By the way, I didn't get to say hi to Wandering Dutch or the panel here. You guys are awesome. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Listen, it's great to have you a part of the show. And like I said, it really does seem like the stars aligned, specifically because yesterday on your RDX podcast, you had a guest, Joe, who represents one of the developers from Hypercharge, which is coming to Xbox. It was released on the Switch and PC last year. And they came into fame because of their game. Their game was shown a couple of months ago, and it took off. It skyrocketed. It much. I think it surprised even the devs, because when they released the Switch version, it didn't get a lot of traction. Now it has. I'm not sure if that's because it's on Xbox or what happened, but unfortunately for that dev team, which consists of 5 friends, if I'm not mistaken, they were inundated with threats of violence for release dates. This comes on the heels of Sony Santa Monica having several of their devs, people in the community. And again, I can't say it's just PlayStation guys or gals or Xbox guys and gals being dicks. It's just a lot of mental illness that is undiagnosed, and dick pics were sent to some of the developers. Threats were sent.
I'm sorry. No, just listen, the way you said it, I'm like...
I mean, listen, I usually say dick
I didn't know how in depth you were going to go. Like, everyone knows, don't send your small ass penis pictures to developers for games.
Yes.
Like, everyone knows that. So I just didn't know, are there Boom, let me ask you, are there actually people that you think that think that is acceptable?
You know what? I would have to say, and I will not curse, you need to get your effing head checked if you think that is proper etiquette for any situation.
I can answer that question. There are crazy people that think.
Exactly. And that proves my point. No one sane, or no one that's actually going to listen to something like, hey, don't send dick pics. And no one that's going to actually listen to that is actually doing it anyway.
Yeah,
everyone knows don't send dick pics to people. It's probably not cool.
It's probably not cool. That's the quote of the day. I love that.
Probably.
But listen, we're going to get into that. We're also going to be talking about Xbox. Obviously, there's not much to say in 2022 because, well, there's nothing. But 2023 is looking like it's a stellar year. Now, before I do the rest of the introductions, and I'll say this now, and we'll get into it once we make it to this topic on the second half of the show. The one thing that frustrates me as an Xbox fan is that when they sometimes do like these reaction moves, they overstep the situation. And what I'm talking about is, like, for instance, that they have been known for the last couple of years that the first 6 months of the year supposedly doesn't exist for games. And they stack the last half of the year. That happened last year, right? Great second half for Microsoft. They won Publisher of the Year on Meta. They had a lot of great games. Well, the start of 2023 is obviously, it's still 6 months away, folks. And we have a lot of games, a lot of first-party games coming in the form of Xbox Game Studios. My concern is that we'll be loaded up at the first half and be barren for the second half. I hope that's not the case. And that's what we're going to tackle. What's coming in the second half of 2023? I know it's a question that we don't really have an answer, but we can certainly speculate. But let's welcome in Kay Asante. Kay Asante, brother, welcome to the program. We're going to be touching on a very serious topic to open up the show. I know you have a lot to say, but I can't wait to get your opinion. Welcome.
No, I appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. Dealer Gaming's in the house, so we're gonna be we're gonna have some spicy takes. Myself and Mr. Everborn Saga also here. Welcome, Dutch. It's gonna be an interesting evening, and although the news gods haven't been kind, as we all know, there are still some definite issues to be discussed here, and yeah, I may have some. I don't know if my take is unpopular, but yeah, it needs to be said. There are people are losing the thread around here, so let's definitely have this conversation. So
yeah, absolutely.
Welcome,
and
everybody.
Wandering Dutch, what's going on, brother? How you feeling? You had a show today. How did that go?
Yes, went really well. 2 new permanent panel members, because of course Erwin and Vin took a step back due to crunch at work.
Oh,
that lovely
crunch
word,
at work,
crunch.
a real thing.
But promotions do that. So awesome, hardworking guys, of course. Real life comes first. So 2 new panel members, of course, Mick and General C's coming in on full-time basis now, which is awesome. But yeah, awesome show as usual. As you mentioned before, though, Boom, it is light. We are thankful that God of War got a release date. We are thankful that Forspoken, of course, had some movement as well.
Yeah.
And of course, a few other little bits to have some kind of topic to talk about. We all know how hard it is to generate a show when there's very light on news. But shout out to Dealer as well. Dealer, it's been a while, brother.
Yeah. We had a good show last time I was on there, man.
Yes. Yeah, always do. Oh, it's always fun.
It was crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's but I want to quickly shout out to you as well. We're coming up to 2 years, and of course, you were one of the first guys, RDX crew, to give myself an opportunity to get into podcasting in the first place. So, shout out to you and your guys for essentially starting what is now my channel.
I appreciate that, man. But you're doing the work, man. Keep it up.
But yes, let's have an awesome show, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, brother. And last but not least, Everborn Saga. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm ready to talk about these topics here. Also, Dealer, I'm glad you're here because Kay Asante and I have been having a debate about what should be considered next gen. And I think that your input would be helpful here. Also,
I'm not going there with you there, Everborn, because I already got
right.
you've already like tipped your hand to me at what you're trying to do. So I'm not going there with you, player.
Doesn't matter. We got Dealer in the house, so I want to ask. Also, thank you for that time you invited me to RDX. I had a great time. I'd love to come back. And Kay Asante and I would love to have you one day on GCP on Saturdays if you're ever free. But I'm excited because God of War is coming. Well, I'm not excited about God of War because I actually bet somebody $70 a few months back when it was a little spooky about whether it was coming out. I bet him that it wasn't coming, and now I owe them a fresh copy of God of War. So I'm not super happy about this, but I am excited to get to play it when it comes out.
This is why we don't gamble. That's exactly the point. That is that exactly. All right,
so
listen.
If you do gamble, bet against whatever Everborn Saga's betting.
Well, okay, that's good to know. I'll keep that in mind, but I really don't gamble, so it's okay. I always have the money in the pocket. But folks, as you know, the talk of the town for today is the fact that Sony Santa Monica has in fact delivered God of War Ragnarok. It has a release date of 11/9/2022. There were some people, some of the trolls were hoping that they would take the 11/11/22 date from Starfield because Starfield obviously got delayed. And even though that would have made for a lot of console war back and forths, it appears that cooler heads and more respectful heads over at Sony Santa Monica, potentially even coming from someone like a Corey Barlog. So if you know Corey, he is very open. He does not get involved in console war shenanigans.
I want to let you know this is because it's Odin Day. It
is Odin Day, yes. That was confirmed, and so it does work out that is in fact Odin Day. And like I said, I said it earlier. If in fact that's the case, that's great. But I do appreciate Sony not taking a jab at Microsoft, which they've been known to do. Obviously, Sony has been known to be petty and to kick Microsoft when they're down. They've done it before, and we've seen it. The last one that won a generation for them is this is how you share games. Literally.
I wish Microsoft would do stuff like that, though, Boom.
Yeah, so do I. So
it's like Microsoft have no hands in the boxing ring with them. I mean, I'd like that aggression out of Microsoft. That's what we should. I'm sure you've talked about that before, though.
Yeah, we have. We all appreciate Phil Spencer being the gentleman gamer he is. But sometimes I wish they would just show their fangs a bit. You know what I'm saying? Scare the opponent. But listen, they're doing things their way. So, Dealer, I want to go to you first on this because this is going to run into the topic of threats and sexual misconduct and sexual harassment. Obviously, threatening of devs is not something that we're hearing for the first time. We've heard this numerous times, but it was made, I would say, mainstream. Holy shit. When Corey Barlog himself actually had to put a tweet out denouncing these threats, these D-pics to their developers, pushing the envelope to try and get a release date. Now, there are some people in the community, I saw the chatter almost all the entire day, that a lot of people are wondering whether or not any of that had anything to do with this sudden, Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning drop. Hey, we're releasing God of War, because obviously this comes on the heels of what happened at the end of last week. So some people are suggesting that because of what happened, this release date was dropped the way it did. And I don't know if that's true. I think they wanted just to get it out of the way, to be honest with you. Listen, here's the release date. We know what it is. It's just throw it out there for the people. If it forced their hands, I feel bad for them. But obviously, pre-orders are going up next week on the 15th for their 3 editions, and they're if you're in the collector's editions like I would have immediately dropped $300 on that Thor hammer. That looks amazing. But, when you're saving for a house, you can't just, spend money ridiculously. So I'm just going to get the digital version and call it square. For you, is this going to potentially be, Dealer, a big deal for Sony when you look at what they've put out this year? I mean, they have in September the Last of Us remake. In the beginning of the year, they had Horizon, which, it released with some bugs. I'm playing it now, and again, I'm happy to say 2 hours in, I've passed the first 8 hours and not a bug. So I'm quite enjoying myself. And Gran Turismo, well, it is what it is. But regardless of that, it's still 4 first-party AAA games in 1 year. Might be considered Sony's best year, which I originally thought was 2018. What are your thoughts on the release date of God of War? I took the L. I thought it was going to be delayed. Well, it's not.
Oh man, you should listen to RDX a little. Boom. Listen. God of War was it already got delayed once.
Yes.
I don't think that it needed another delay. And 2, you got to get that release date out there before it leaks. Everything pretty much leaks before it gets revealed officially, right? Pretty much. So that's definitely something they have to consider. I'm excited for this game, man. God of War Ragnarok. It's looking good, but people have a problem with it looking like a sequel, though. That's kind of a weird thing I've noticed. Boom.
Really?
Yeah. You haven't seen people say, "Oh, it's just another," it's the same as the last game. It's a DLC, right?
I've heard it, but I got to be honest with you. If you're in that camp and you're saying that, then I think you're reading the room wrong, because look what's on the screen now. Granted, it's 1080p, folks. I'm sorry that I don't have a rig that can run 4K video. This is what the software that I use runs, and it looks phenomenal, right? When I'm playing it on my 65-inch TV, I sit back and I'm like, I can't believe this game is from 2018. So if you're telling me I'm going to get a game that looks this good on the PlayStation 5 this November, it's all thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
So, but let's get into the threats. You've talked about this on your show. You've had many devs stop by RDX. You've had high-ranking officials of Xbox. Because you run a really good show and a really good panel with a lot of varied opinions. How long before we start seeing other devs come out and be like, yeah, we're getting threatened as well? Because it usually just takes one to make to start the letting people know that this is happening. And it's shocking to me that people that they don't realize that this is wrong.
Yeah. Well. And it's not the worst thing to happen to studios. I just want to remind people there were, for lack of better words, there were rape threats on the Tomb Raider actress when Rise of the Tomb Raider was confirmed exclusive, right? I mean, there's shit like this that happens all over the place. And I feel like anybody sane knows it's a really shitty thing to do. But it's also important to talk about, the issues at hand. I just don't believe anybody actually think it's okay, and if they are going to use it against other studios or not. That's a hell of a day where, you know, you have studios that ransom by dick pics. You know, they're going to come up with, you know, something for that. I have no idea, man.
Yeah. No, it's a sad state of affairs that this actually happened. But I'm proud of Corey for putting this out there for people to know that's happening. I know that in some of the D picture cases, they have involved law enforcement. So I would imagine that the people that did send those are probably going to get collared or locked up as the non-police jargon for that because, well, you can't do that. And I'm sorry, in this day and age, you got to really be out of your mind if you think that that's acceptable behavior. You want to send that to your girlfriend. I hear you, but not a total stranger, and not certainly a developer saying, "Hey, you can look at my little wang and I can give you a release date." It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's Kay Asante, let's bring you in on the conversation. You have a lot to say about this. You and I talk pretty much every day. This is something that is not foreign to devs. We've seen many people from 343 threaten for content. You know, we've heard them get out there and talk about it. I guess people seem to forget that developers are actual real people, actual real life people. Yeah. That have feelings, that have families, that have lives, that their job is to make games, but they're not there to make games for you specifically. They're made there for their company. When you heard about this, and now we can bring into the conversation the guys bringing Hypercharged to Xbox. They got a lot of threats, and this is kind of like a mom and pop operation. It's 5 friends that made this studio, that made this game, and it took off like a bat out of hell, and now they have been at the brunt of threats of it not being on PlayStation.
Yeah, no, it's a problem that keeps rearing its ugly head for some odd reason. I don't get it, and actually, in a short succession amount of time, some of these issues caught fire more than others did. I don't know if you guys heard what's her name? I think her name is Liana Rupert. She's a community manager on Bungie, for Bungie. She also received a bunch at the same time. I think it was June 2nd, June 3rd, same around a month ago time frame, where literally the same thing, you know, death threats. When's this coming out? When's that coming out? You know, why aren't you guys being more communicative? And, you know, to the point where they needed to block the people and potentially investigate what's going on and probably, you know, reach out to the authorities. It's absolutely ridiculous that this keeps happening. I guess I don't understand what folks really, and let's be clear here, right? By and large, when this thing catches flame and people are out there trolling and having a good time, they're not being serious with it, but they don't recognize that their jokes tend to have serious ramifications for people who are just trying to do their jobs, you know? So I do agree with Everborn and with Dealer that there are crazies out there who take this stuff seriously, but then the internet at large, which I don't think that there's more crazies than there are normals, but they like to have a good time and they just kind of pile on and it just becomes a bit of a mess. You know, my purpose in all this, what I don't understand in all this is all of us here, right? If you're listening to this, if you're on the panel, or if you're a fan of these shows, you're a proponent of gaming. You're a hardcore gamer, or you're a fan of gaming and you want to defend it, right? We want to talk to our family and friends and tell them how this is a serious hobby that needs to be respected as any other. But for some reason, every time we take a few steps forward, we take a few steps back. So they always get to look at y'all and consider us, all of us, as man babies, basically. How can, you know, I need you to communicate, so I'm going to send you pictures of my little man. You know what I mean? Like, get the hell out of here. That is absolutely ridiculous. Like, in what world is that approachable? Do you ever hear Elon Musk go, well, somebody got tired of waiting for their Tesla, so they sent me a dick pic? Like, what is that about? It makes no sense. And all it really does, right? Like,
do you think the guy that took the picture, the first dick pic, his mom kicked the door in and like, how dare you? I don't respect gaming at all now. I don't think people that would say that stuff know about the incident itself, but I definitely see where you're going with this.
It's almost like, it's like we can never be taken seriously as a community because this stuff always drags people down. And it's unnecessary, because how many times has that worked for anybody? Can anybody ever tell me in any instance where sending one of those pics, whether it be for the purposes of asking for a game code or a release date, or even to get a date, has that worked for you? Chances are, it probably
Look,
did not.
speak for yourself, man. I mean, you're just kind of, you gotta
Come on now. I'm going on a limb and saying chances are that didn't work in your favor. I'm just saying.
I get what you're
They
saying.
might even take it and then spread it around and laugh at you.
They're like,
about it.
look,
But
you know,
Yeah.
You know, it's just, there are many ways of trying to get people to communicate. This is the most backwards thing I've ever thought that people still continue to do. And it's not just the dick pics or whatever. It's just the harassment, right? Most of us, I mean, yes, it's a hobby that has a lot of age groups in it. But by and large, when you go out there and you're looking at those who like to troll and those who like to console war and this, grown-ass men who should have, you know, something between the ears. And for some reason, that seems to always be lacking in this equation. That just surprises me. I don't understand. So needless to
what
say,
they have between their ears is probably what they sent in the pictures. The thing is this.
Interesting.
I think the sad part about all of this is that these crazies probably think their bullying worked because ultimately they got a date.
they got what they wanted. Yes. Which unfortunately, by the nature of timing, is how it is. Obviously, it had one that had nothing to do with the other. Most likely, as Dealer said, once they nailed down that time, they needed to get it out quickly so it doesn't leak. Makes sense, right? It's just, I don't understand. And clearly, I would hope that nobody in this audience are people who think that this stuff is justified. But we need to call those idiots out whenever possible and like shoo them from this community as far as possible because it works against us, by and large. You know, that's basically my take on it.
No, absolutely. Real quick, we have 2 super chats. One from Sith Lore drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, how much do we have to pay for Dealer to upload his podcast on Google, iTunes, Spotify, etc.?
You know, I have something in the works there, sir. And I know I've said that before, but I've got it's COVID's not going to hit again, and it's not going to fuck me up, right? So I'm gonna be able to actually do this time, and I got a whole new overlay and everything coming for the show, and I'm launching them all at the same time. But thank you.
Nice.
If you want it done faster, send him a dick pic.
Yeah.
Indeed. Absolutely.
Just send it to Digital Foundry first so they can zoom into it 300% so I can see it.
I love it. That's great. I love it. He says, I love to re-listen to the shows while he is at work. I actually been doing that for a while, Dealer. It does take some work. You know,
I mean, again, that's not really the issue. It was just I wanted to do skits and do a bunch of different shit in there, right? And it was just some stuff fell through, and I got excuses for days. But this time, it's actually going to happen. It's going to happen around the same time as the overlay.
Okay, perfect, man. Good to hear.
I do hear.
He does listen, ladies and gentlemen. Outbreak Podcast drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, Dealer, great to see the host of RDX with the amazing panel. Let's rock these topics. Que Asante, Dutch, Everborn, and Boom make a super panel. Well, thank you for that, brother. And obviously, if you don't know, Web Dave interviewed Dealer. He interviewed myself, Que Asante. I don't know if he's gotten to Wandering Dutch yet. I believe he did. Yeah, he did. So he's making the rounds, and he's gotten everybody. He even got Colt Eastwood was the last one he dropped on July 4th. So go check out Outbreak Podcast. He's doing some big time interviews, and he does his homework. He definitely asks the right questions, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm glad to have him in the chat, and of course on Breakfast with Boom. Dutch, let's get your opinion on this. I don't know if we got a chance to talk about it on today's show. First of all, God of War, and we're going to come back around after the harassment thing to God of War because it is a big release for Sony, and it does bookend one hell of a year that they're going to put together. When you think about four AAA games, all first party, and obviously it seems as if they're lining themselves up to win Publisher of the Year. And if God of War and The Last of Us remake hit at 90, they're going to probably come in at an 89, just under 90 Meta, and that won Microsoft Publisher of the Year from Meta, and they will win it this year. First of all, let's talk about the harassment and why this has to be curtailed.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, and we have to say this across the board. Obviously, it's the God of War situation, or at least the developers from God of War situation, really just highlighted the issue again, because it's not uncommon. We have seen it before. It's just rearing its ugly face again. And that, of course, then prompted a flurry of other developers to kind of speak out on recent kind of abuse and things from fans across multiple platforms, whether that be PC or Xbox, like the Hypercharge guys, and much like Dealer, who's had the devs on the other day, and ourselves, we're going to be having them on shortly as well. We've been speaking to them in the DMs as well, and obviously they thanked us for our support. Just speaking up, just saying what we're saying now, and just saying it is absolutely wrong. You shouldn't do it. We shouldn't have to tell you that you shouldn't do it. It's like talking to kids, or he's trying to tell a kid not to do something, but they just do it anyway. These people don't speak for the wider majority, but unfortunately, it's the loud minority that often spoil things for people.
Yeah.
And one of the things that kind of I felt today with the release of the release date was more of it felt because of the, and I feel like specifically a game the size of God of War Ragnarok, it would have normally had its own limelight in a way, like a state of play to kind of do that reveal of the release date, etc. But I feel like the conversation around it and the kind of negativity that the studio and the staff have been getting, it feels almost like they've just went, you know what it is? Just here's the release date, here's the info, like just shut up. Just shut up, leave us alone, and let us get on with it. And that's kind of what it felt like, and I feel sorry for the devs in that instance, because it shouldn't come to the fact that you just get absolutely fed up with these toxic minority, that you have to feel like you just get rid of it. And again, unfortunately, there's a lot of devs going under the same pressures, because these little spoiled brats and these entitled minority think that they deserve everything and they deserve to know what the release date is. And if you don't, we'll send you death threats or threats of sexual violence, or sending explicit pictures to you, or anything and everything, threatening family members. We've seen it all over the recent months and years, and it's never been acceptable, and it never will be acceptable.
Yep.
And I think Santi had a point before there is unfortunately, and we've seen it every time there's some form of violence in the news, whether it be mass murders or gun violence or anything. One of the things that always gets brought up is video games.
Yes, 100%.
And that it's got nothing to do with it, but because the guy happened to play a video game, that's it. It has to be games. And unfortunately, it's the same old thing. It's the quiet majority who just get on with it and enjoy games and play games and don't give the devs hassle and ask politely, or when the release date is, etc. Ignore that, because it's unfortunately the loud minority, the ones that are causing all this stuff. That's the stuff that gets the headlines. That's the stuff that's all over the news websites and everything like that. And that's where the bad image comes from. So you automatically painted in this thing because a few idiots decided to act like little brats online and think they can get away with it. I said the other day on the weekend show for ours, I said, if it got to that case and people were doing that, I'd just ban his account on Sony's side. I'd be like, you know what it is? You don't deserve to play this. We'll just ban the account. It shouldn't come to that, and it's an extreme situation. But if you're going to give death threats or send explicit pictures to developers from studios, I'm sorry, but you don't deserve to have what they've put their hard work into in the first place.
It's funny you say that, Dutch, because Kay Santa and I were talking, and one of the things that were a bit disappointing was we saw Cory Barlog come out. We saw other developers come out to defend them. You know who we didn't see, though? Herman Holtz. We didn't see Jim Ryan get out there on the Twitters, right, as the kids call it. Get out there on social media. We saw Phil Spencer immediately, almost instantaneously, back up and thank Cory Barlog for the shouting out these bad actors, right? And it's I kind of wonder, and we've known this before. Jim Ryan, great businessman, guy knows his business. He did such a great job with the PlayStation 4 in Europe. It was a 6-1 deal. Might even been 7-1, and that was his due to him. He was tenacious when it came to his business practices in there, and that's why they made him head of PlayStation. But I don't know. You're right. They should have, the minute, if this is a PlayStation fan and he does have an account, it should be banned almost immediately. I don't know if Sony wants to lose customers, and if they're putting customers in front of their devs, I hope that's not the case. That would disgust me.
But at the end of the day, if you have a look at the T's and terms of service of any gaming platform, any form of sexual harassment, etc., regardless of whether that's in
Immediate
text or
ban.
voice form, it's an immediate ban.
Yep.
So it makes no difference whether or not it's on this or the other. If you're doing that to the development team, I don't care how hard you work to pay for the money to buy the game in the first place. If you're sending threats or violence or sexual harassment or anything to anybody that's working within that team, I think well within their right to prevent you from playing it in the first place.
I agree, 100%.
I don't know. I mean, you cross that line. You're talking about a future where Facebook can ban your ass because some other you did something to some other company's shit. Like, I'm not talking about the most severe, but I'm saying it's more of a via like a fucking, you get where I'm going with that? Like, that's something different where you're crossing boundaries and you're fucked over here because you did something over here, or maybe you didn't even do it. Wrongfully,
didn't
convicted.
Phil Spencer say something similar? He wanted a universal, like a list that they could follow you, and if you screw up,
but
on
if we got everything
platform,
Xbox and Phil wanted, who knows where we'd be at? I mean, I just think that there is a little bit far, but I would say that
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it does get weird there. Again, it does suck. Though. I agree with Dutch.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, we're going to come back around to the God of War situation. We just wanted to, I felt it really necessary after watching a dealer show last night, after seeing what happened over the weekend with Sony Santa Monica, as someone who is former law enforcement, who dealt with, sexual harassment. I was actually in charge of in community affairs, putting out the word of people who were sex offenders. And some of the stuff I read made me cry, made me sick to my stomach. And I wish that there was an actual Punisher where he just went around killing people, but there's no Punisher. So, seeing this and hearing this in real life, it brought me back to my time in uniform. And I felt it was incredibly important I felt responsible to have this conversation, because we're all adults here, and everyone on this panel, including our guest Dealer Gaming, always bring everything to 11. But real quick, before we bring in Everborn Saga, Gamer by Choice drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "K Asante, I think there are more crazies than there are normal people." You know what? I don't know what the ratio
I hope I'm
is.
wrong. I hope he's wrong, but I don't know, man.
He's a little bit crazy, but it's just to what degree?
You mean dick pic crazy? Like,
No,
really?
no.
I don't know about that, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
Listen,
It's
Everborn,
levels
let's get
to crazy. It's levels to this.
It's a weird day when people are leveraging dick pics as weapons.
It's scary.
So I said to Joe on the podcast last night, I said, "Good thing they didn't launch a second wave and send dick pics at you too." It's just spending them off with a shield.
Look out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And then the cavalry.
Oh my God. So Everborn, let's talk about the what happened over the weekend. And again, obviously this is widespread. It goes on more often than not. Unfortunately, a lot of devs don't talk about it, but I'm happy that Corey Barlog, head of Sony Santa Monica, did what he did, and obviously we saw Joe on Dealer's show last night, and obviously they put something out on Twitter about the threats. And just want to get your opinion on this. What do companies need to do to stop this?
Well, what they definitely don't need to do is that idea of banning across platforms. I think that's a very scary place if you get there, because then who's going to decide what you get banned for? They a lot of things change around people, and then things that might have been cool to say a few years ago are now not cool to say. Obviously, nothing on the level of sending these pictures. That's not what I'm talking about. Right. But you always have to think of these things. I think of everything as like we're in 1984, right? And you don't want, one company's terms of service dictating what you do every place else, because think of a scenario where you actually didn't say something wrong, or you're wrongly accused of saying something, or it's what you said was a joke and perceived the wrong way, and now you're banned everywhere, right? Think of that if you're like a content creator who solely relies on content creation. Again, I'm not talking about what happened with them, but creating a world where something like that can happen, I just see it as worst case scenario, and we don't want to be there. So we got to find other ways.
I was talking mainly on extreme situations, not so much you just get banned if you're being a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Ban him, he was a dickhole. Send him dick pics.
Right. So
that's his punishment. They just send him dick pics. No.
But Everborn, real quick, on your point, don't you think that all this stuff continuously happening opens the door more and more to them taking that nuclear approach?
Yeah, but like, I don't know. We did a lot of crazy stuff after 9/11. Should we have? Right? Just because terrible things
Hang on,
happen.
don't group me in with you. No. What'd you do?
I was about to say, explain, sir.
What are you admitting to right now?
Don't worry, no one's
I'm just
listening.
not be the one to say it, apparently. Everyone else is like, yeah, I'm guilty, fuck it.
America did a lot of things, right? I didn't waterboard anybody, goddammit.
All right, well, remember that. You didn't do it.
It wasn't me. Shaggy style. That's the defense. But so again, I think we do have to find another point. And again, I really sometimes feel like people do all of this stuff online because they have anonymity, right? But forcing everybody to dox themselves, do you want that? I don't know if you want that either, because again, there's another set of crazy people who will look at a dealer video pointing out some technical thing and then be like, I hate your guts and I'm going to come after you, right? So, or they might look at one of my crazy conspiracy theory takes, but they could try it. But the point is, I don't know what the answer is, but I definitely don't think it's cross-platform ban. So that's one part of it. Now, can I, while at the same time saying what happened was terrible and not discounting anything that the Sony Santa Monic
Don't do it.
developers,
don't do it. They'll try to get you.
I'm here for it. So
I know a particular forum that does that, by the way.
Now, let me put on the conspiracy theory hat, because it wouldn't be a PTG show if there wasn't an Everborn conspiracy theory.
That I would agree.
Is it not just a little bit? Is it just a tiny bit convenient that Corey came out of, because he had left Twitter for a little while and he came back recently, but this weekend he started tweeting and highlighting things, these things and all the crazy things that people were saying, and everybody's talking about it now. And then when we're at a fever pitch, Sony magically announces the date. And I'm not saying the people didn't do those things, but I'm saying, did Corey come out of Twitter hiatus to prime the pump for Sony dropping the release date?
No.
Nobody's with
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I thought you were going to get even crazier with it. I don't know how crazy you're going to go with it. I thought you were going to say, Corey's back on the internet now. Maybe he sent the dick pics.
No.
Yeah. So
They planted it. It was an inside job the whole time.
Corey launched the attack.
I will
have
say
been
this.
crazy for a long time. I'm saying the fact that Corey comes out now and highlights the crazy,
Because somebody just did this thing that he's highlighting. And it just so happened to happen to, people he knew and called friends.
Yeah, that's true. He did come out a while back, like a year ago, when somebody did something to Alana Pierce and say something. So that's true.
I
I
think
like
the
to
release date. To your point, Everborn. I don't think. See, because it's interesting, right? What you're saying is a little far fetched to say the least, but at the same time, did this situation spawn the release date earlier than they wanted to talk about it? Because did they want to do this at a Sony show, right, which is rumored to come in July? I honestly can't say yes or no. I don't think I think they just wanted to be done with it, meaning that the longer they held out the release date, the more that this would continue. And I think that, again, this is complete speculation, folks. I have no idea whether or not this is reality. Maybe they figured that if we just get this the F out of the way, the D-Pics and threats will go away and we can continue making our game. I don't know if that's true or not, but there is something to be said about that.
So you think it actually worked?
I don't think it worked. I think,
but that's what you said. Like they wanted the attacks to stop, and they just wanted to get it out of the way and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you say it like that, I'm not saying that the D-Pics worked. I'm saying that Sony Santa Monica realized that if they continue to hold out on this date, maybe they were forced by what happened. I don't know if that in fact is true. I'll put it to this way: if they were forced to release the date, then these assholes won. I'm going to tell you that right now, and we'll never know because they're not going to say it. But that would be a sad.
Look, you got. I mean, the fact that we're talking about these fucking dick pic senders like there's some kind of black, like CIS agents somewhere or whatever, like doing some crazy shit. No, this is just fuckfaces with a cell phone and a camera, and they decided to send some stuff in, and that's where the blocking comes in, and that's where it stops. It literally stops right there. But the fact, I don't think Sony even thought about this. Like the tweet from Corey is probably as far up as it really went, because dick pics was the very first picture a phone ever sent to anybody. We all know that, right?
Right.
Like this has been happening forever. Like it's a block it and move on thing. It is so fucking common. In fact, I'm sick, by the way. Sorry. But it's just super common, and it's really the doxing and the stuff like that I would really, really have a big concern about, because it's a privacy issue, right?
Right.
Dick pics, I literally hit block like I do, like, whoever the fuck says some really stupid shit on Twitter, right? It happens all the time. Everyone does it. But, getting doxed, that is your life on the internet, which is something we should be focusing on more than anything. I don't even care about the attacks on these dick pic sending stuff. Like, people can block that. I don't care about that as much as people phishing your information, putting you, your family, everything on the internet for everyone to know and see and go to potentially. That is the issue. That's the thing that people should be talking about, because that can actually affect you in a serious way.
Well, I mean, unfortunately you are onto something, and you're absolutely right. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because the doxing situation should be paramount, more so than the D-Pics. Because you are right. Getting your financial information, getting your home address, getting things of that nature, where you all you do is make games, and now you have to worry about whether or not someone's going to be there to splash acid on you, or they're waiting for your wife to pick up the kid from the school bus and attack them. It's scary. And a perfect example of how scary this world is look what happened over the weekend. Where 7 people died at a parade, right? Guy just decided, a punk kid decided he was gonna load up his semi-automatic rifle, and he just cut down 7 people before their prime. And that kind of stuff is real. This is circling back to video games. Dealer's right. The doxing situation is it should be even more paramount of a concern, simply because getting all of your information about where you live, and you have a wife and kids, even if you're by yourself, it doesn't matter. Someone went out of their way to get your information. It is quite scary.
So on a more serious note, like this, a broader level, because I think things like this happen outside of video games all the time.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So
content creators get it a lot as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And really, so the issue really is that on any of these platforms, there's no prerequisite to create an account, right? So literally, any of the crazy things you hear on the news, every one of those people that does those crazy things, 9 times out of 10, they have a Twitter account. And they could be DMing you crazy things, or making threats, or trying to dox you, or find you, or do all those things. We're on this sort of digital hellscape amongst a lot of cool people, but also there's nothing stopping the crazy people from interacting with us. So the question, I guess, is, should there be some kind of prerequisites to to partake in these platforms.
I mean, Facebook tried that, and what did people give them? A lot of shit. And to this day, their name is mud because of it, right? And they
they did a lot of other things for.
Yeah, they were terrible stewards themselves. But that is the question: which stewards are trusted to be able to have all those details on you, even if they don't share?
You are the steward.
Only you are.
Yeah, you go out of your way. Listen, if you're somewhere and you don't like what's being said, right? If you're out in a public space, there's not a damn thing you can really do about it. You're gonna have to deal with the shit or move on. And that's where you come in. Like, no, Facebook can't protect you. Xbox can't protect you. No one can protect you but you when it comes to this digital stuff. Like, when I'm talking about, like, the dick pic stuff, right? That's where, only thing you can do is react and block. But the doxing stuff, what do you think they're going to do about that, though, Sante? Well, like, what are they going to do about that? How can they improve that situation?
Yeah, that's a difficult one to do because clearly it's about how you prepare and how you protect yourself on the internet, as it were. Anyway, I do hear what everyone is saying. There is an idea of not everybody can just create an anonymous account. What if it's referenced to like some kind of identifier, but only the company has that detail on you rather than sharing it publicly? But still, it's a slippery slope, as we've already established, right? All of a sudden, you get a head of Twitter that becomes a raging a-hole, and then all of a sudden, that power in their hands becomes problematic. There is no real solution to any of that,
Those is facts.
I was going to say as well, it's a weird prerequisite because, again, to create an account, you would think, right, okay, the easiest way to get around that is provide an ID to create an account in the first place. Now, Facebook don't, essentially, as an example, Facebook don't require you to have an ID to open an account. However, if you get that account locked, to unlock that account that you have lost, you need to provide ID to provide.
As a security measure, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a weird thing where people are like, we don't want to provide ID to these companies. Of course, it could be a data breach or it could be misused some way, shape, or form. But in those circumstances, you have to provide it to unlock your account. So it is a weird thing. Of course, people don't want the privacy breached. They don't want to feel like they're under lock and key, and you have to provide ID to do everything. But it's a strange one to try and battle and keep everybody happy. But you're never going to please everybody. The only real way to do it is to start an account and stop all of these multiple million stock accounts that keep popping up left, right, and center. And we see stock accounts in our chats and on Twitter all the time. You get rid of them, and then the next week they're back with another number on the end of them. And
I noticed. One show in particular was doing some botting, and we was calling them out. And then, lo and behold, one of our buddies had their stuff botted, and then I called them out in the chat of that, and then they've stopped botting, like as a whole, from what I've noticed. I don't know if you noticed that, Dutch. There's some weird shit happening to the show. It's like it took me fucking years and years and years to get anywhere near that shit. And, I'm fucking happy when we got people watching. I'm watching people with 1,500 people watching, and they're fucking bored as fuck on the panel. So, I mean, it definitely is a problem, man.
We had it for the community showcase, actually. We had, it went up to something ridiculous, like 1,500, 2,000 people watching it, and I'm only got 1,500 people subscribed full stop. It was never going to get that high. Yeah. But 1,500 people, and I was like, this is just something not right. Yeah, the true number was like 250 or something, 300.
Yeah, it's a shame because as a content creator, you look at something like that, and when it happens, initially you're like, did I just cross the threshold? Because content creation is extremely hard. Building an audience, very difficult. Because people, you got to be transparent. You got to be honest. The dealer, you're a perfect example of doing it the right way. You really do a great job with the guys. You have an amazing panel. You're tenacious with your shows. You're physically and mentally upset when you can't get it done or something happens. Where it's that technical issue that's out of your control. But it's interesting. Let's Everborn, please continue your point.
Boom was very distracted. Translation.
No.
Boom, he's trying, man. He's multitasking.
No. I mean, I honestly don't. I don't know that anything can be done, right? And in terms of the doxing question, I mean, is that not also? I mean, it's obviously assholes shouldn't do it, but is that not also on us to protect our digital identities? You know what I mean? So, you know, they tell you to use two-factor authentication, but how many of us do that? They tell you to, you know, use different passwords for everything that you do to sort of protect yourself because there's scammers everywhere, right? So I think if we don't want to, and this sucks, but if we don't want to get doxxed, it's that we have to treat it the same way that we don't want to get like hacked or our bank account stolen or things like that. You know what I mean? And I just want to say one other thing because Boom is back now.
Yes.
I said this to Kay Asante for many years now. All of this tomfoolery from these asshole trolls in the gaming community is why we don't get good video game movies, because they think that we are all children,
man babies
that drink Mountain Dew and like explosions. And every time something like this happens and it bubbles up, I'm not saying people know specifically about this incident that we're talking about, but when things bubble up, that people just say, "Oh, that's the gaming community." So I'm just saying this is the reason that we got that Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Ave Maria.
You're blaming. You're going that far back.
Yes,
that's all you saw.
The Assassin's Creed movie was terrible.
Listen, the reason those movies are trash because they hired trash fucking directors and a lot of trash actors. Okay,
trash, and more trash.
Look at Sonic. Sonic 1 and 2, pretty good, right?
Yeah,
those were amazing.
Those were actually really good movies. Really good films.
Yeah, and Arcane was great from the Riot Games.
True.
But the point is, those are the outliers. They don't take us seriously, and that's why we keep getting shit movies, because we keep acting like shit. So that's it.
Well, look, at the end of the day, it's unfortunate this is a thing. Like I said, I think Dealer really brought us back around to reality that the D-Pics is something that's been going on for a while, and that the doxing is more of a concern. And I'm glad that you brought that up. But I don't want to spend too much time on this negativity, because I think we're almost an hour in, and that's what we've talked about. We got to get into what a lot of people came here to talk about, specifically because Dealer's here. Dealer obviously runs an Xbox-centric podcast, one of the best, to be honest with you. And you yourself, Dealer, including myself and many people on this panel, have been extremely critical of Microsoft for things that they are not doing. Not having a major AAA game in 2022, it's a big problem, folks. I don't give them a pass for that. I'm sorry. You can call it mismanagement. You can call it the shit hit the fan in development. Whatever you want to call it is fine. I don't give them a pass on that. I would like to know how this happens.
I hate the fact that you have to tell people, look, think for a second.
Yes.
I'm not saying that you won't have games to play in 2022. I'm not saying that you won't play a first party game in 2022. I'm not saying that you don't have third party games to play in 2022. I'm not saying that you don't have Game Pass and you're great, you got a bunch of games. We're saying that first party this year is not going to be producing any blockbuster games for the first time since I can remember. Since
the fiscal stuff needs to be stopped. We're talking calendar year. Keep going.
I'm going to be honest with you. When they said that, I actually I physically got angry. I was, because as that's
a what consumer, they call the finesse.
Finesse. I call
and
it.
And they did it a lot too, because they were counting games. By the way, with Matt Booty, because I was invited to their media briefing thing before the event, and in that event, Matt Booty listed games that were already out that came out again, and we released 5 big games last year. We're talking, Age of Empires and all this shit, right? But the games came to Xbox again, and that's how they kept the number up, right? Flight Simulator came to Xbox later, so they counted that as one of the games and why they had a great year, right? We get that it is a new game for a new audience, but don't act like you released 5 new games this year, or a game came to PC, for example, like Age of Empires, and they counted that, but Xbox players didn't get to play that unless you're on PC.
Right.
Yeah,
they
are tricky, Boom. You're right.
I look, as a consumer, I want transparency and someone to be and take responsibility for this. I don't want you to tell me, hey, we got these wonderful 12 months of games coming out. It's fiscal year June to June. That's great. That's great on paper. That's great for a spiel. But that's not what gamers want to hear.
Hey, Boom. You know what makes it even worse? Most of the games that you actually care about, like they said the next 12 months, but what they didn't tell you is that even during that 12 months, that doesn't start for another 6 months, because most of the stuff you wanted to play is 2023.
Yep. No,
right?
100%.
But I think you guys are all sleeping on the future game of the year, Pentiment.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Is
this like a conspiracy part? Are you doing that again, or is it that's like real?
I don't know whether you were watching the show, but when that was shown, Mag went, "Oh no, what's that?" He's literally become infamous because of that. And again, I'm sure it's a great game. Josh Sawyer knows how to tell a great story. The guy knows his business, but it's not a game for me, and that's fine. Not every game is for every gamer. I say that all the time.
Bought a $500 console for a reason, right? The high-end one.
That is true. But listen, dealer, we were talking in the pregame, folks, and I have concerns for 2023. Not because I'm worried about what's coming in the first half of 2023. There's 3 major bombs, AAA bombs for Xbox, in the form of Starfield, Redfall, and Forza Motorsport.
If they're all going to hit
first half of the year.
Maybe they'll come out.
Maybe. But again, I'm going to play it off as if they are. And if that, in fact, is the case, they have a couple of third and second party exclusives that are going to be in the middle of those 3 big bombs. And it's going to be a banner first 6 months. But as we've known, Microsoft tends to overstep to make when they course correct on certain things. And my concern is, okay, if the first 6 months of 2023 are similar to the last 6 months of 21, then it's going to be a banner year for Xbox gamers in regards to first party, because that's what a lot of us want. We know that first party isn't the end all be all, but first party is your platform's identity. And again, I'm probably going to lose a ton of subs for this, and that's fine. I like being real. I like keeping it real. And that's great. On paper, it's great. But dealer, my concern, and I want to get your opinion on this, is what happens in the second half of 2023? Because this year, when they did the quote unquote 12 months fiscal year BS, it was the wrong time to do it because it didn't look good on paper and it didn't sound good at all. Now, next year is going to be a little different because they're gonna reiterate what's coming next year. For what has come, like this is what we released this year, and then we're going to have the next 6 months, hopefully in that 12-month fiscal year that they're talking about. We're going to have a ton of announcements in regards to Fable and Avowed and Hellblade 2 and such. But the truth of the matter is I don't know what comes in the second half of 2023. Do you have any thoughts as to what could be released, or are we going to see what happened this year on the second half of 2023?
We don't have dates for anything right now.
That's right. Yeah,
let's just assume that shit is a year away. I call that show Xbox, the Xbox check back in 12 months show. Because it's basically what they said, fuck off for 12 months. There's not really going to be any, a ton of brand excitement in that year. There's not going to be really much. And I think, like I said on my show, it was a sacrificial L of a show. They know they needed to stack their portfolio in a different way. They used that show to basically stagger it and gain some time and pick games where they thought they might need to go. And we still don't have dates for any of the ones they did say were in 12 months. I did find it interesting that they said they capped off the show with, this is our next 12 months. Now let's get into Starfield.
Yeah.
They said that before. I'm pretty sure they went in that deep dive on Starfield. I don't know. I just don't know. I think Forza Motorsport, like I said in one of my last Forza videos, it was going to be anywhere from October to March. And, that I'm pretty sure that'll fit the first half. But the second half, let's assume everything hits in the first half, right? What other games would they have for the rest of the year? Well, that aren't second party deals or anything like that. That's the thing, Boom. Like they who knows? I don't know. I don't think Fable's ready next year. I think Hellblade could make next year, but then they're sending out pictures like just got a lead animator. It's like, shouldn't you do that fucking 3 years ago? So I don't, it's kind of hard to tell where they're at with some of this stuff. But I think Hellblade is the closest of their big games, and that's why they've shown the most of it.
You don't think Avowed, maybe? But I know we haven't seen it.
Hellblade will hit before Avowed. It should.
Okay. So here's a question, Dealer and Boom. Do we have to? And the answer is yes, but I guess the question is how. When we talk about the second half, I think we also have to factor what Activision Blizzard is going to be doing as well, right? Provided the deal is closed, but I don't know if this is on our topic list, but it seems like all signs point to that deal closing at least at some point. So do we count whatever Activision does as first party going forward? So do they get a pass in that way if there are releases from Activision or Blizzard?
If the deal's done, yeah.
So
if the deal is done by the time the game comes out, it's first party. Just like we didn't count Insomniac's games. Spider-Man was coming out, right, and they hadn't owned them or whatever, and then they did. Now it's first party. So after it's first party, it's first party. Until it's not, it's not.
Right. And so to that end, because I feel like, I don't know if the deal closes this year, but let's say it closes early next year. There's a world where Diablo 4 is a first party game by the time it comes out. You know what I mean? And that only adds more to, the Forza, the Redfall,
What time do you think
Starfield.
that'll hit though of next year? Because we know they said that next year that like Diablo was at their show. We know that's coming, but they already have a date for that, don't they?
I don't think they do.
I thought it was coming out this year, was it not?
No. That's Overwatch. Overwatch
my
came
bad.
out this year. Diablo's next year. So who knows, right? Who knows when that deal's going to close? But I do think that they will be something, even if it's not from who we're counting today. But I do think at least they'll be able to count on Activision, because we can give Activision whatever shit we want. Those mother effers know how to ship games, right?
They do.
So yeah. I do think at the very least we'll get something from Activision or Blizzard in the second half of the year. But I am of the mind that Starfield gets delayed till holiday of next year.
Oh, please don't say that. That would be ridiculous. I mean, that would be
11/11/23, baby. You missed
I
it this
hope
year,
that
you
is
get
not
it
the
next year.
case.
One other thing. So, Dealer, tell me what you think about this. Here's another one of my conspiracy theories. I think that there's no way that nothing first party besides Pentiment could have been ready for this year. I think that they are specifically
Get ready for it.
Okay, hold on a minute. Dealer,
Hey,
why do you
but,
think
this with
okay, you
everyone,
say this is
including
conspiracy
Rand.
time, but are these your real thoughts? So that's my
No,
question.
this one is actually
this is a real thought.
this time.
Do you want me?
This
I
time.
I can stop it before you get going if you want. But I
No,
also
don't
like
stop
to hear
it.
where
I
you go
wanna
with
say
this.
Oh, let him
Okay,
go.
go ahead, go
Go
ahead.
for
Okay.
it. Go ahead. Yes.
Why do we think Microsoft let Crystal Dynamics go? We know they could
Because they could not buy them because they're in the midst of the biggest deal in history of the company.
So you mean they can't be even though there's no law saying they couldn't? They don't want to poke the bear, right?
Pretty much, yes.
So who's to say that we didn't get all of these delays into 2023, which is conspicuously when they said the Activision deal will be closed, first half of 2023, right? That's when everything got delayed to. I think that as soon as the deal closes, whenever that is, whether it's early next year, late this year, June of next year, whatever it is, we will automatically get dates for everything. And I think they're playing coy so that they don't look super OP while the FCC is looking at this thing.
No,
That's
man,
what I think
it's
is going
actually
on.
much worse than all that. They're just incompetent. I mean, they have guys there that listen. I've never heard a studio complain about too much freedom in my life until Xbox bought them. Undead Labs said we failed. We was messing up because we had too much freedom. That's basically what they said. We expected them to come in and tell us exactly what to do. Yes, should they have gone in there and made sure people were on task? Yeah, but I don't give them that much credit, man. Like they just are adjusting during after a time where things are crazy. That's something they also focused on in the media thing before their showcase was their new cloud-based gaming development environment. They have been putting together better ways to build games, at home, and everything got pushed back like a year or so because of COVID, because of everything that's happening, things ramping up and ramping down. I wouldn't take it that far personally. I would just say that they just don't have things, and everything gets pushed back. And by the way, we can't really get the workforce and the manpower we want. As a matter of fact, we're hiring guys. We got to go find Leo in Kentucky because he was a contractor for Halo's Melee, and he's the only one who knows how to fix it. Like, it's just dumb decisions like that all add up.
So
I just think
what you're saying,
they're messing up.
Is there's management issues.
There's clearly management issues, yeah, and I also think they're afraid to get rid of some people. But at the same time, again, I just think, hey, 2022, yeah, they don't have nothing. 2023, they're gonna have stuff. I can't possibly see that when this dam breaks, right? All these games are gonna eventually break this thing, and we're gonna finally get some damn games. That it's not gonna stop, right? So I would just say to everyone relishing these times, just remember these times because it'll be the last time in a while. I would assume anyway, been wrong before, that it's going to be a damn drought like this on this platform.
Yeah. The wait to the next E3 is literally going to be a thing of the past. Is what you're.
Don't feel bad, dealer. I've told the same theory to King David, Randall Thor, Jez
Gordon.
They've all called me crazy.
I'm not calling it crazy,
but I'm crazy like a fox.
I think it's cool that you can,
I love it.
Go into that mindset and boost up Microsoft like that, but I just don't have that kind of experience dealing with them or seeing what they've done. It's countless things. We all know what it is.
Well, to give Microsoft some shite, this might be the worst year in Xbox first party history.
Rand actually said that live on his show. He came right out and said that.
What the shitty part is, though? The worst part is when guys can't admit it. Yeah. That's something that's really been getting me a lot lately, as somebody's been doing this for years and years, is seeing guys that rock out with you every day, every week, whatever, seeing in the comment section, you talk to them, and then when you start to say something like what we just said, they're getting pissed off and saying you're being negative. Well, take the good with the bad, man. Like, there's some of us in the community that haven't done this flip-flopping shit for views or money or any of that fake shit.
Yep.
Because we're just doing our thing, right? And, if you watch, you watch. If you don't, you don't. But at the end of the day, there's something called, consistency, which a lot of people don't have. So I'm going to say it. As last year's show was a 9.2, I'm going to give this one a 6.87 on a good day, right? Like, when you say something like that, it gets to me a lot seeing people that cannot even admit that Halo's broken right now. That's something that I'm dealing with a lot, Boom. I don't know do you see that a lot here?
Yes. As a matter of fact, look, I'll say this, dealer. I've lost a ton of subs when I was giving 343 the business that they deserve. I finished Battle Pass 1 and 2. I have 13 days played in Halo Infinite, most of which is multiplayer. I would say more than half, probably 60 or 70% of that 13 days is multiplayer. I am unbelievably addicted to it. The problem is this. It is broken. The fact that I can't mix armors and make my Spartan look like I want is a problem. The fact that we just had a battle pass come out with one big team battle map. One map.
Mm-hmm. And they just updated the game again, and high-ranking players can't find matches now.
Yes.
It's more and more issues. Now the melee desync is an issue. They got to literally track down the contractor that did it. Yeah. First off, why are you letting a contractor handle any part of your core gameplay? Halo is shoot, grenade, melee, right?
Yep.
Melee, that's how you finish them off like 30% of the time. How can that be like Johnny in fucking, Louisiana? We got to go track him down now and have him come back and fix it. Like, how does that happen? How does that even happen, Boom?
So, you know what? Here's another question. Okay, and again, I get it. No man left behind with Xbox, and I appreciate that. But when you come out and you make these public announcements that Halo Master Chief Collection is getting DLC and it's getting updates and it's getting new skins, and your main game, your new game is not receiving the same love, it's a head scratcher. It makes me wonder what the H
That's
is
the
going
problem.
on.
That's the problem with going for by like what the reason they're doing that is because it's got 10 million players on PC, right? And you know, Halo Infinite. Again, there's a serious bottleneck somewhere in there, and I think that's why. But yeah, you're right. Master Chief Collection getting updated like that. I'd put those guys on Halo Infinite.
Yep,
so
100%.
let me ask you guys a more broad question. And this is I've brought this up a few times to Kay Sante. If we're seeing these sort of management issues now, what is our confidence level that Team Xbox can fix the issues with Activision?
It's a great point.
Well,
I mean,
hold on. Let me push back on that just a smidge here, just a little bit, right?
Also,
The
before
problem
you
with
push
go
back
ahead.
on that, I want to highlight that I told everybody that we would
here
be
he
where
goes.
we are right now.
Yeah,
with
go ahead.
no
Take your
games
victory lap.
way
Go ahead.
before.
Go ahead.
I told everybody way before there were going to be no games,
Uh-huh.
and they weren't going to show us shit at the show. I said it. Nobody believed me, but here we
Bro,
are.
you took your victory lap on GCP.
I know,
Calm
but
down.
deal
You're
is
fine.
here, so I got to take it again.
You gotta take another
Go
one.
ahead.
I understand.
Go
I
ahead.
understand.
Now answer the question.
My pushback on that is the problem with Activision Blizzard King has never been to close the deal as far as getting the games out. Like you said, call them what you will, they know how to close the deal. They know how to release games. Their problem is they are not decent humans to their employees. That is the problem. And Microsoft is, they've all gone through their time in the spotlight, in the hot seat for those. Well, but still, it's not there. Those are two different things, right? You must both be decent and both be a closer. That is the needle you must thread. And clearly, Activision Blizzard can release a game even if the blood of the salt mines are still on in the way for Call of Duty. They still do it. They're just not decent humans. So in that respect, I can expect that Microsoft can bring some of that to them. Hopefully, what the flip side of that becomes is then ABK also influences them to be a bit more closers, right? Be able to provide your plan A and your plan B that they clearly don't seem to understand right now. Yes, it's an idealistic scenario. I know. Maybe I'm being a little Pollyanna here.
Out that way.
Maybe I'm being a little Pollyanna here, but the idea that because they're not closers as far as their own first party, that gives issue to what they'll do with Activision Blizzard. Their problem has never been releasing quality games because Activision Blizzard by and large does
they
that.
treat it like a sweatshop. So if Microsoft comes in and says, "Hey, everybody, no more crunch, do what you want," is that going to lead to Activision now missing dates and things like that?
And dealer, maybe you can add some more meat on this bone here, but I've always assumed, and maybe it's a bad assumption on my part, I've always assumed that the reason why they're very hands-off is the other studios they've acquired, by and large, just needed funding and room to grow. And they let them do that, right? Hey, you look at Bethesda, well-oiled machine. They started needing money, so they started releasing like less quality games, right? But when they had money, they were doing quality stuff. And you look at the twins of the last few outings, Fallout 76. Those were, hey, we need money, so we're kind of doing the cash grab thing. But by and large,
no, they didn't need money. They just knew that this company was selling, and they were milking the studios.
That's right. Yeah. So by and large, they're a well-oiled machine. So you can potentially give them their resources and step back and watch them do what they do, right? I wouldn't think that's the approach they would take with ABK because we already seen ABK just toiling and turning into a horrible mess in front of everybody to the point where now they're so low that they can be purchased, right? I think they would have to take more of a hands-on approach there because if you leave it alone, it'll continue to be a festering boil as it always has been, right? Now, the question that might be interesting to ask there is, can they be more hands-on since they're so used to being hands-off with their others, right? Clearly, the others needed the hands-off approach because they work already. They work well already. But the new guys coming in, they need you to shepherd them. Otherwise, they go into the sexist zone and they do the ridiculous things that have been done up until now. So that's where I'm a little questioned about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, if they, of course, I expect them to replace certain management. They've already done it in other studios. They've hired a ton of people in all these studios as well. I like the fact they're hands off, but in this case, they had been going downhill before, the acquisition, right? So, I don't know. I don't know how they would solve that. I would just have somebody there to keep them on task and allow them to make what they want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, let's bring in Dutch in on the conversation. Again, there's no doom and gloom on the podcast. Dealer and I have been, I think, very clear and concise in our opinions and our issues with the way Microsoft has been doing some things. I don't think it's a gloom and doom scenario for 2023. I think that it's going to be it potentially is shaping up to be the best year in Microsoft history. And that was just last year. This year is a complete shit show, but it is just at this point, it is what it is. Here's the problem. The first half looks great. We don't know what's coming in the second half. Are we going to see Avowed? Are we going to see Hellblade? Are we going to see Compulsion's game? Are we going to see something? Because Aaron Greenberg, it's funny, just said something, and we love Aaron. Aaron's a great dude, perfect person for the position that he's in. Clobriel had made a list, which, if you don't know who Clobriel is, you should probably follow the guy. He's phenomenal. He always has good stuff to say, puts out a lot of great Xbox content in regards to Twitter, and he made a list of games that were coming. He did a list going back from 2021 through 22 through 23 and beyond, to be announced. And Aaron Greenberg commented on it and said, this is a wonderful list. And what's great is that there are a lot of games that are not on here that we have not announced, which means that they have a ton of stuff that they're working in the background. And Dilla did say something earlier I thought was spot on. Once this dam breaks, once this onslaught of games, this cadence that I've been calling for, that I want to see Microsoft hit, we won't have this issue anymore. We won't have these conversations, but it's a conversation that we have to have because, we're in it right now. Dutch, what do you think the second half of 23 looks like for Xbox? Could we see some of these games from studios that they purchased in 2018, giving these games potentially 5+ years in development?
I think I'm pretty much with Dealer on this one. I think we'll see Hellblade. Again, it's a game notoriously that has been shown off both the Game Award twice now. Again, I ate humble pie and was wrong about the fact that they eventually showed it on their own show, and kind of resigned to the fact that I think Jeff's got that one in the bag again for this Game Awards.
Yeah, everyone suspects that it will be shown off again at the Game Awards.
Yeah, and we'll see combat gameplay and things like that. But I fully expect. I mean, the work that they've been doing on that game. There's always some weird things, like you'll see like a month out from the game launch, and even though you don't know the release date, they'll hire a lead tech or lead game designer or story artist or something. And you're like, what? Like, is this game delayed? What's happening? Why we're hiring these people like so late on in the day? But I think that's more the kind of future of where the game's going, where the franchise is going, etc. Or what else they're doing with the game in the studio. So it depends on how it goes. But yeah, I would say we're probably more likely to see Hellblade than anything else. It's the one that's been shown off the most.
Yeah.
It
certainly fits the narrative of
gameplay.
Yeah, well, you know what what it does, and obviously everyone that's in the chat here, we got over 400 people here. You know who Lord Cognito is? He's the voice of the Iron Lords, and he's been saying for years, to a lot of degree, hashtag just one, right? And what is that just one? Well, what you saw earlier, God of War. What I'm playing now, Horizon. I want one of those on Xbox. He does too, and Dealer does, and everyone here wants one. And I'm pretty sure that Hellblade 2 is going to be that one. It's going to be the hashtag just one. And I'm with you. That's the one I really want to see because Ninja Theory is incredibly talented, and they pulled off a modern day miracle with 16 developers to make the first Hellblade on a shoestring budget. You know what I'm saying? So now that they have the backing of Microsoft, now that they've had this new studio, they're adding combat, potentially an RPG element. It's going to be twice 4, 5 times bigger than the original. So I'm on with you with that.
Yeah, the length of work that they've done behind that game, and just how much effort they've put into it, and they are extremely talented from top to bottom. We're talking both in terms of mocap, in terms of visual aspects, and in terms of the 3D audio that they're producing. It is absolutely top-notch work. The levels, I mean, we've seen the dev diaries and everything from start to finish, and just how much they're actually putting into it. Senua's got a very big possibility here on being one of the new Xbox figureheads going forward.
Absolutely.
And it's obviously now they're already starting to show that in a lot of the trailers and things. You'll see that the new Senua kind of moment where they showed off in the CD trailers and things. But I think it's a very big possibility, as you say, to be that shining beacon at the front there, alongside Halo, alongside Gears, etc. And it does need that new one. And of course, like PlayStation has now, they've come up with several new figureheads for PlayStation over the last generation. Whether that be Aloy, whether that be Kratos' reimagining in 2018, whether that be Spider-Man again now being
Days Gone.
Figurehead. Yeah, Days Gone. Then you've got Jin from Ghost of Tsushima. There's so many new figureheads that they've got on the front there that people love. And Xbox do need those just one moments, those figureheads. They do. Yes, they've been awesome at creating multiplayer games, but they do need to create these big as
These
Dealer
big-
put before,
yeah,
these blockbuster AAA titles.
Yes.
These single player games, and I don't know what else will go along with it. It could be anything. Speaking of the management things, and we spoke about this the other last month, of course, with the showcase on as well, and Matt Booty's comments on I don't know how I'm going to manage putting all these out or where to put them, because I've got so much I could release and I don't know where to release them or what to put the dates as, etc. It's if that is anywhere near true, and there is that much ready to go for the tail end of 23, then we need to see those dates. But I have to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what could any of the games that we've seen more recently could come out. I think Fable's still a way out. Won't see Project Mora until way after Hellblade's out. We won't see the likes of potentially even Contraband until the year after. I don't know. It's really hard to predict that. Really hard to predict. I suspect, like I say, at the moment, Hellblade's probably the only one I could confidently say, yeah, that's pretty close. The rest, no idea.
So, guys, just a quick aside. While you guys were having this riveting conversation, I was just poking around Game Informer just to see. Okay, so we know some of these first parties, right? We know their names, and Dutch has been good to point them out. But let's just speak exclusives, whether it be the second party / anything that's not on the competing platform. Right. There's still about like 10 games that are slated for 2023 that don't have like actual solid dates yet. But still, 10 games, 10 pretty big ones. Some of them are re-releases, some of them are console to PC to console. Like I'm talking like Valheim, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, which is an indie game. But all of these in here, Ravenlock, all of these in here are literally have a deal with either Game Pass or on Xbox as a console platform, but not PlayStation. So yeah, even though there is no first party there, and I still think they deserve that righteous smoke for that, there is still, if you are Mr. Exclusive, there are still like 10 games in 2023, not counting first party at all, that's scheduled for Xbox alone.
Yeah, I think most people probably, I don't know, when Microsoft decided to go PC and console at the same time, and sometimes just PC now, it seems to be getting worse. Yep. I think a lot of people moved off of the exclusive thing, and now it's what is first party making. And you're right, they do have some deals in the future. I think I'm not too happy with global publishing focusing a lot on some of these other titles over others, but honestly, you're right. We do have some stuff coming, but we also have to remember that we're getting the games that Sony got. Sony got exclusives from Xbox before we fucking did. Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo will probably hit late next year as well.
Yeah.
And you're thinking next year? You think not this year? Because if they are September, if they were released September of last year, wouldn't they not be able to talk about it until September of this year? I'm asking the question.
I told you we was not.
I'm just asking.
I said we wasn't.
No. And let us be clear. Let us be clear. I have no dog in the fight. I've already beaten that game on PC, so that's not neither here nor there. But if they had a year exclusive, right, presumably, and it ends in September,
they couldn't talk about
it in September.
That is correct.
Or am I wrong about that?
No, I think you're.
Well, we're presuming a lot anyway to begin the whole thing off with.
That's clearly an assumption. Clearly, it could.
We
be
don't know.
years.
Sony like these long deals now, Santi.
Yeah, exactly.
They look at the deal and they're like, more. They want another year now. Now they're doing the 2-year thing, sometimes more.
Yeah, true. Okay,
so
but if they did do a 1 year, you'll hear about it in September because that's when it would end.
Hold on.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it'd be very odd for them. It's weird to because we see it all the time. Games that are only on PS4, and they're like, well, for now, right? I mean, they're being kind of cagey about this one, but I'm just saying, if you don't get it this year, 2023 can add Deathloop, and of course Ghostwire Tokyo for sure next year.
Yeah.
Those will be games you'll finally get.
Let me throw something else out there. Who is to say that Sony didn't do a deal with Deathloop like how they did with Capcom to say that this can't be in a competitor's streaming service?
No, at this point that would be ridiculous.
That's something that Microsoft would not honor.
No, they would not honor that deal.
Yeah,
they own the company
now for that.
All right.
No.
All right.
I mean, it's well. Listen, before I bring Kay Santi into the conversation, let me catch up some of the super chats. Elemental Pio, good friend of the show, great friend of this community. He's been a channel member for 4 months. He says, good evening, gamers. Great to see Dealer in the house. Indeed, it is. We also have Falaby drops an outstanding $2.79 super chat and says, what are the panel's thoughts on the UK and Activision? I'd say it's a big nothing burger. The UK and the EU are going to move the same way the FTC moves.
I think that's a great move because that means that the by and large the American side of the house is a bit more cool, and now they're moving on. That means they're heading down the path, which is what you want.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's an unstoppable force at this point, especially with the union sending the letter to Lena Khan. I think it's a done deal. Actually, as a matter of fact, Hoglaw just did a great video the other day on it. So definitely go and check that out. He breaks down why this is a major monster hurdle that Xbox jumped over. And it pretty much guarantees, I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but it certainly makes it appear that this deal is going to get done.
You know what's crazy? Is all the speculation that it wouldn't get done was always speculation by random people.
Yes.
It was never anything saying this wouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. There was never any writing saying we won't allow this. We're kind of thinking about it, or we're looking into it more, for this reason. It was all a bunch of people telling us it wouldn't pass.
Right.
And as I've always said, there's like I just said, there's nothing there that suggests that it wouldn't pass. It's not a monopoly. They're still not first after this. Everyone's got shooters. None of this stuff really makes sense to me. So I mean, I feel like it's gonna go through. And Boom, tell us. I know you know. When's that Deathloop hitting Xbox? Huh? That's what we want to know.
Well, I'm gonna say next year. But
see, Boom. This is what I was telling you earlier. What if what Microsoft is effectively doing, this is Microsoft proper, right? Like, I know this is going under the Microsoft gaming division, but this is the biggest deal that they've ever done in the history of the whole company by a factor of 3, right? Almost 3 when you think of LinkedIn being 26 billion and then this 68 billion or whatever it works out to when they're done. So there are different ways you could look at this deal. You could look at it, are they a monopoly? And that answer is easily no. If you just go by revenue, this puts them at third place, right? So you can't block it on those grounds. Or you could say, are they trying to kill a new business before, or monopolize a new business before it gets started, and basically choke competitors in the crib? And you can't say that either, because you have PlayStation Plus now, which theoretically has more subscribers. So you can't look at it from the Game Pass angle. And if you wanted to look at it from the labor angle, now you have one of the biggest unions saying that this would actually be good for workers and they recommend it. So on any avenue you would try to block this thing, or not saying that they are trying to block it, but on any avenue where people would say that sort of this deal is not
any of the righteous arguments have been taken away, basically.
Yep. The legs of the argument have been cut out.
And that is why I think you're hearing the UK say, okay, now we're going to take our shot at it and look at it and whatever. But I do think it goes to a phase 2 for the UK, and then it has to go with Brussels and the EU. But I mean, there's really no grounds unless they're going to make up some new grounds.
Well,
right?
Traditionally, in many, if you follow the business like a lot of us do, the UK and the EU move along with what the FTC is guided. They're guided by what the FTC does. So if the FTC goes and approves something, it's more than likely it's going to get approved both in the EU and in the UK.
And Warren Buffett thinks it's going to go through. So
Warren Buffett bought stock, so he knows something.
I can't believe that Jason Schreier was wrong. Wow,
Jason Schreier, the rat. Yeah, well, he's right sometimes, but he's also a D-bag.
Yeah.
RWK _88 drops a $2 super chat and says, WTF dealer, I'm tired of you hating on the South, with a laughing emoji.
Dude, what? Shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for watching.
Sir X-Men drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, I'm getting too old to wait for Xbox greatness. Oh my God. And we also have here.
That's funny as hell.
That is quite
in
funny.
A casket, and Phil finally comes up with some games.
Yeah, well, it's funny, but there's also some truth to it, and we love Sir X-Men and his honesty.
Yep.
Radadon or Rob Dadon. Rob Dadon drops a 202, drops a very generous $10 super chat, and he says this, guys. Yes, Xbox should have released more AAA first parties this year, but they kept their contractual agreements, i.e. Ghostwire Tokyo and the studios that they bought in 2018. I give 5 years, especially after COVID. And yeah, I mean, COVID definitely it's played a monster part. But at the same time, you know, Sony, they released 4 AAA games this year. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm not Microsoft. Microsoft is my favorite company. I have over 300,000 gamer score, folks. I'm in it for real. But I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for the $2+ trillion company. I'm just not going to do that. I am a fan at the end of the day in turn, and also I am a consumer. I'm a customer. I'm paid up for Game Pass until 2025. I'm in the bag, ladies and gentlemen. So I am allowed to have a negative opinion. If that pisses you off and you want to unsub, I hear you, and I would be sad that you'd see you go because the subs do matter for me because we just crossed 10K this year. But I'm not going to pander to Microsoft. I'm going to give them the business because I want them to be better. And you know,
you're better off, honestly. Like if they are unsubbing because of that opinion, for one, you just want bullshit fed to you all day. And there's too many people like you in the world already. That's why things are how they are.
Yep.
So you need a little more honesty. And just because you damage control by saying, I have a backlog because I don't beat any of the fucking games when they come out. Not all of us fucking do.
Right.
You know, I've been playing 7-month-old Horizon 5. You know, I'm waiting for games just like everyone else. So, yeah, are there things we could kind of jump into? Sure, but we want a moment like Ragnarok. We want a moment like Gears 5, Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon. You know, let's say like something we're all hyped for. Do you even remember what that feels like actually releasing?
Yeah.
That's going to be a big day because it will eventually happen.
Yes.
You know, it's just, again, you know, if you want to sub because people are being honest with you about it, you probably should already do that. What have you been watching all this time? It's not the first time Boom said that, right?
Yep. No, I've been on their ass for quite some time, and I do it politically correctly because I care about the brand. I don't hate on something hoping that I'll tap the vein of the hateful people. We don't want them here. You're a hateful bastard. We ban you. That's just life. And Lita Papa has a quick again. He mods yours as well as mine. Carries a big stick and walks very quietly like a ninja. And if you're an asshole, he bans you. And I love that. I love that about him. He has full authority to do it. But I'm not going to pander. I want better. I want AAA goodness. I want God of War quality titles on my Xbox. That's
and
what
when
I
we
want.
complain about that stuff, you know, personally, I've invested thousands of hours into building content around the brand and talking about, hyping things up and being excited and positive. I try to bring that stuff at a high fidelity, and I don't do that because I'm fucking bored.
Yeah.
I started doing that and didn't monetize 20-some thousand subs. That's when I hit monetize. I decided to actually make it a thing you can make money off, but, doing this shit for free for years, and now I'm working harder and putting more into it, making more money, even doing this hobby, like, it makes you realize, like, hey, maybe we should honestly give our real fucking thoughts. What do you think, Boom? Maybe we should just not lie to people and tell them we do this because we care. And that's why we do say the things we say. It's not because we want to be negative. We are negative because we don't want to see other people get the W over them. We want to see Xbox get a W. And every time they don't, it pisses us off because it's always this type of shit. So that's why we're negative about it. We try not to harp on it. I know if you're like me, Boom, you don't want to come back every week and the same bucks are talking negative Xbox stuff. Like, that's not what we're doing. But you got to be real, man.
We can be honest.
There's a thing called constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Right?
Indeed. It absolutely is. Real quick, I have a couple more super chats, and then we're going to get to Kay Asante's opinion on this. We have here... Okay, no, I had him already. Thank you so much for that, Rabadon. We have
he dropped another one.
He did drop another one. I have that right in front of me. Rob Dadon 202 drops a $5 super chat and says, "Let's not forget, coming into the generation, PlayStation was a well-oiled machine, and Xbox was still recovering. This is just the effect of last gen." Indeed, that there is some truth to that. Sir X-Man drops a $2 super chat and says, "Everyone knows I'm Xbox for life. Just waiting." And Highlander 001 drops a $5 super chat and says, "I discovered Black Desert Online in Game Pass, and that game alone will keep me playing until the games I want to play come out." And that's awesome, dude. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. There's so much in Game Pass, it's ridiculous. But Kay Asante, we talk every day. I said that more times than not, and we've had this conversation. You and we agree. Sometimes Microsoft over course corrects to their detriment. They've done it numerous times. I don't know what 2023, the second half, is going to be, but I am hoping that it's going to have at least 2 big AAA bombs for the holiday. What are you expecting in the second half? Being that we know what's coming the first 6 months.
Honestly, I wouldn't say I'm worried, because I'm not.
Worried is it would be too much of a play on words. Yeah, we're not worried.
That's right. Exactly. If you are about that, hey, it's got to be this exclusive thing, then you might be keeping an eye on all the known IP names that have been making the rounds, right? And I know that obviously will be released soon enough, right? Whether it be 2023 or beyond. Like you guys have already said, at some point the floodgates must open, and even poor planning on the booty, excuse me, even poor planning by the booty cannot stop those floodgates from opening, right? At some point, you'll be either putting them on the shelves or telling somebody that they're out there, because they'll be done tinkering with them at some point. So, given that, I try not to focus too much on, hey, the AAA, first party AAA. I just want them to show their consumer base that even if their own studios are still busy working, they have other things for you too. Hey, this is coming, that is coming. It may not be directly from us, but look at us. We are trying hard to continue to earn your business, right? That's what I want to see. And in that respect, like I said, if you look through here, some of the names are known, some of the names are unknown, but in the next, for what we know, obviously, and hopefully, when we hit the next June, fiscal June mark, right? They will add more to the mix that will then fill out your second half of the year. That is very wishful thinking, clearly, because they didn't do that this time around. And that's why we're all on here giving them the right to smoke, right? They kept saying fiscal to try and obfuscate that, but the truth is, in the calendar year of 2022, you ain't got much. Hopefully, in the calendar year of 2023, there's more to present, right? And we won't know that fully until the next June show. So, instead of me saying wait till the next show, I think if you are just here about the first party exclusives and that's what you're here for, you're still kind of disappointed, because there's a lot of potential and no solid dates. That's the truth of it. But if you're here just in general to say, okay, I bought into this platform, whether it be a Game Pass solely or you're an Xbox guy and you're just all about those games and you buy all of them or whatever, you will have options that you won't find elsewhere, right? That still exists. Like, as I said, and we can go through some of it really quickly here. Valheim was really big on PC for a long time. It's coming to Xbox, and it's not coming anywhere else. It's coming to Xbox, not on PlayStation. I'm sure eventually it will, right? Because we also know that Xbox doesn't like
weeks, because that's
I was about to say
Xbox
we also know that Xbox doesn't like to money hat for that long. But hey, you want something that's just coming to yours, it's coming to yours, nowhere else. So be happy about that, right? As I mentioned, the last case of Benedict Fox, we didn't know we wanted that in our lives, and then we saw it. And you get Limbo vibes, you get this vibe. It's a combination of very many
vibes. Who are you kidding? Holy moly!
Flashback vibes. I even saw some Ori and the Blind Forest there with some colors in there. Very interesting thing. Also, just coming to Xbox. We know Stalker, we know Ravenlock, we know Redfall. Obviously, replaced. It's still in the mix there. Minecraft for those
the
who
Russian
really
Russian
enjoys.
game.
The game that I've been waiting for years now. That's coming a lot of places, but still, the day that Atomic Heart hits, I'll be a very happy
that's
boy.
what it is. Yes. Thank you.
I'll be a very, very happy boy.
Yeah, but Boom,
I'm waiting for that.
You meant Stalker though, right? So
No.
Stalker.
I actually meant it. I mean, Stalker 2, yes, but Atomic Heart looks.
Atomic Heart, yeah. I've been eyeballing Atomic Heart for many, many years. NVIDIA has been using that to basically show off their graphics cards whenever possible, because that thing is just a showcase. So hearing that it's in Game Pass, whenever that drops, that'll be the couple of weeks where you'll not see me on the internet, because that's what I'll be knee deep in, right? And Cocoon, where some people were like, for those who aren't aware, that is when the team, the Limbo and Inside team split. One went to Somerville, the other went to Cocoon. So it looks a little weird, but the pedigree alone tells me that thing will be special, right? Because they're the ones who made all those other really weird special games that you love, right? And then of course we have It's All About Family, Mr. Vin Diesel in Arc 2, right?
Yes.
At least without even speaking of first party, there's 10 games right there, not coming to the other side for however long.
I mean, it gets way better though when you do include the games that are coming to all platforms. I don't even care about if it's not coming to Sony. That's why I get what you're talking about. There are people that do.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil's next year, like there's a shit ton of things to play next year for sure.
A lot, yes. I literally pulled this out and I skipped over the ones that were coming to PS5. If you add those in, oh boy, you got so much coming. So the idea is, what are you really looking for? If you're looking for something to hold over somebody else, you're going to keep waiting for a little while. But if you're just there as a gamer who want to enjoy your games, there's a lot coming for you. You'll be all right.
So to that end, though, I don't know that the issue, at least not from like normal non-dick pic sending people, I don't know that the issue was ever, we have nothing to play, right? The what people have questions about or are disappointed about are, hey, we're Xbox fans. Where's the first party that you promised?
You got so many studios. You have 4+ years. What happened? Where are they? Right? You got 20 some odd studios, 30 some odd teams. Questions. Nothing for calendar 2022. Oh yeah, all that righteous smoke is fair. 100%. I'm with y'all on that. How many teams you got? And each team, each studio most likely has double teams within it. Some more, some less, right?
But by and large, Obsidian have 4 teams.
There you go. By and large, we'll say 30 different teams. We'll just say, and that's a ballpark, right?
You guys are being negative. I'm not subscribing.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
All I'm going to be playing this holiday is Sonic Frontiers. Right,
I'm right there.
We are being you guys are being super negative, man. Let's talk about something happy. Boom, shit.
Right. He brings up Sonic Frontiers. We got to go down the dregs.
Sonic Frontiers is my personal game of the year, but I'm saying it's not about not having stuff to play. It is just, hey, Microsoft, what the hell's going on? That's
Yeah.
And to be clear, to be absolutely clear, it's not to say, you delayed games, this, that, and the third. No, of course not. These things happen even during a normal couple of years without the Rona coming and messing everything up. That is fair. When they announce these delays, it's disappointing, but it's not unexpected.
It's a good thing, right? Really, because that means
it's a good thing, because
ultimately
the games become better. You're 100% right? So that's all good. My only concern, I've said this on this air, I've said it on my show, we say it constantly. What What is the booty doing? What's the booty busy with right now? Because big pause. But you know what I'm saying? Like you got so many like pieces of your puzzle, right? And there are many colleagues at your level that have less to work with and somehow are able to provide a plan B, a plan C, able to do one of those bait and switches. Hey, don't look here, look what we got for you. While the thing that we meant to give you is still cooking. They can't seem to do that. And honestly, that's where I think they deserve how much smoke you give them. Now, that's righteous smoke. I'm not talking about the dick pic stuff. I'm not talking about, constant barraging with ridiculousness, because then even when they got something to share, they don't want to share it, right? But we can be honest and say, hey, we all here, we love the brand, we love the platform. I'll be playing this thing for a long time. I have a Steam Deck. Guess what I'm playing on it? Xbox games. Right? We're playing Xbox games on devices that
you're doing it wrong.
Need to be doing that. Hey, we're enjoying ourselves. Myself and Everborn we're on troubleshooting duty this afternoon, trying to get the Game Pass
My Steam
running
Deck
on.
Wow, I wonder why people don't want to fuck with PC, huh?
There you go.
There you go. That's a whole different conversation.
That was
but
my
still,
entire conversation this whole afternoon.
There you go.
Like, this is
but still, at the end of the day, people love the brand and want to continue to engage with it. So at the end of the day, we have the right to be respectfully critical when they're not producing what we want them to produce.
Yeah.
And disappointed. Yeah. So to me, that's all fair game. And folks in here, I see. Shout out to Fuzzy Belvedere. He said, "Booty got spreadsheets." But yes, don't assume that because we're here saying where's this, where's that we all hate it. Like, no, we're all gamers here, enjoying our games, wanting better from the games. And for those who are saying, oh, Xbox gamers giving too much credit to Sony. I'm not an Xbox gamer. I'm an all-around gamer, because guess where I'll be when God of War releases? I'll be in front of my PS5 playing the damn game. That's what we're here for, right? Yeah. So it's not about one versus the other. It's about both of them doing the best they can and providing us what we want, which is quality games. That's all.
And you just said it. You get to lean on that huge game that they've spent so long making because they're actually releasing it. And like we just said, it's the principle that matter at this point. Who's drunk over there and what the hell's going on?
No.
And maybe they would have given you like a big, beautiful show with a guitarist playing awesome music, and instead y'all sent them dick pics, so they just threw it out on Twitter. See what you did? Ruined the whole thing. Anyway.
Ruined it for everyone. Hey, Dutch, did we get your opinion on this yet? We did. Okay, so Everborn, let's get your final opinion on this, and we'll get everyone out of here. You out of our entire crew are probably the more negative one. And
you fuck, you're the negative one, Everborn.
And it's true. He has conspiracy theories, but he also likes to be he likes to bring it down to like 4. When
Everborn, the Debbie Downer. Understood.
Yeah, but that's how I do.
But it's okay. This is why we love you, and we just I want to get your opinion on this. Now, again, the first half of the year for Microsoft, first, second, and third party, it's going to be an absolute abundance of games.
It is the blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg of games. The question is now, do we see, and you said it, I think they delayed like Starfield to holiday, which would just kill me. Please release this game already. I want to fly into the galaxy and do my own thing. I want a good Bethesda game.
So
what do you think the second half looks like for Xbox?
Okay, so this is just from listening to Jez and Rand, and no, they didn't give any hard dates, but I do think we will. I think there's a possibility Avowed can come out next year.
So do I.
If Hellblade comes out next year, that would be amazing. And I do think we are going to see some things in the second half, like if Deathloop is coming ever, it's going to come in the second half of next year. But maybe it doesn't come. Who knows? We don't know what that deal looks like. But then there's Ghostwire Tokyo, which again, that deal may also push it out to 2024. If the what do you call it deal was 2 years, maybe Ghostwire is also 2 years. Who the hell knows, right? But that being said, I think we're gonna get at least one Xbox proper first party, and then I think that we're going to see some more things that may not be coming until 2024, meaning what's going on with Compulsion, what is going on with In Exile, right? I do think we're going to see those games, and I wonder if we get Contraband next year.
That's another one that's interesting,
right?
yeah.
So I think 2023. And I know people
Wolfenstein 3 is another one that could come out late next year.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Bethesda has a bunch of stuff that they could be working on. But honestly, I think by the time we get to 2023, if the Activision deal closing, which I'm very, I would bet. Well, let me not bet money because every time I bet money, it goes the other way, right? But I do think the Activision deal closes. And when you have Activision publishing their games and ZeniMax publishing their games, and even though Xbox has been super slow, their games finally come out, I think 2023 is at the point where they couldn't fuck it up if they tried. Boom.
Yeah.
Right? At a certain point, unless they're going to start canceling games, these things are just going to come out.
Haven't you heard of the term that has been coined uniquely for Microsoft?
Yes,
which is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Or you better knock on some wood or something, man.
I'm not knocking on anything. I've been right more than I've been wrong. So I think 2023 is going to be where the brakes come off. And not because like they're super smart and they were planning it all for 2023. It's just going to be one of those things that happen that way. And then as the ball rolls, Activision and Blizzard will release more games, and Bethesda and Machine Games and all of them will release more games. And whatever ZeniMax Online is doing is going to release. And then the next round of Xbox games are going to be released. So, 2023, 2024, 2025 looks bright. And maybe you don't get Fable until 2025, but I think there's enough there to where they do actually live up to that promise. And next year, right, if we're counting the Activision games, if we're counting Diablo 4, they're going to have a big game like every 2 months.
Yeah, potentially. Absolutely.
Right? So
aren't you supposed to be the negative one?
No, well, I'm negative for 2022. 2022 is trash.
True.
I told you that because Brad Smith told Phil Spencer to slow shit down. And Phil Spencer had to deliver the bad news to Todd Howard, who was going to release the game buggy or whatever, like they always do. And Phil Spencer said, I know you feel good about this date, but why don't you work on some of those transitions real quick?
So what happens when it comes out in 11/11/23 and it's still got the Bugthesda on it? Then
it's not going to. I have faith it's going to be Bugthesda.
Listen, a game that big. Look at Elden Ring, right? The whole of and this is you. Boom, you put in just as much hours as me, 100 and 200 hours, whatever we put in.
Yeah.
That game is constantly being patched because it's so big and there's so many things going on and there are bugs that get fixed all the time. So I definitely feel like Starfield's going to have bugs. The question is, are they going to be Elden Ring kind of bugs or are they going to be Cyberpunk kind of bugs? Hopefully, as long as they're not Cyberpunk kind of bugs, we'll be fine.
Right. Well, look. This was a great show. I do have to catch up some super chats, one of which is a big bomb from Drawn TJ, who's a generous friend of the program. He drops a $20 super chat, and he says this. Hi, guys. Hi, dealer. Everyone hit the like button. Best generation of gaming. Next year is going to be insane. We have Battle of the Racers this gen with Forza Horizon versus Midnight Club and Test Drive Unlimited versus Need for Speed. Yeah, there's a lot of racers this year. We also had a couple of super chats come in from, let me just find them. Hold on a sec. Danny Passion Official drops a very generous $2 super chat, and he says this. Sadly, I'm 40 plus hours on Tetris Effect thanks to Game Pass. Don't be sad about that, dude. Tetris Effect is
a great game.
That's a great game, especially in VR. It's even crazier.
Objectively, the greatest game ever made. Fight me on it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I hear
Tetris.
you. And then Drawn TJ actually drops 2 more super chats, and one more. Maybe it's 1 or 2. Let me just make sure. He says this. Did you guys see my $20 super chat? Hopefully it didn't get lost. No, we got you, brother. We also have one here from Drawn TJ again. Drops a $5 super chat and says, "Sir X-Men, the new Test Drive Unlimited game is being made by the people of WRC." Yeah, that's something to be excited about because they are incredible. And we also have a message from Kingfish737, who's been a member of the channel for 6 months, brother. Thank you for that. He says, "Hey, Boom, always love the show when I'm able to watch it. However, I'm an Xbox gamer, but I'm very happy to see PlayStation players getting God of War Ragnarok." Yeah, and so am I, because I'm going to be playing that game day one. I'm actually running through a New Game Plus to kind of acclimate myself with what happened with God of War 1, and at the same time, I'm running through Horizon, which I just got another update. And like I said, 2 hours in, folks, plus my 8 hours original, no bugs so far. So I'm very, very happy with what I'm seeing with Horizon Forbidden West. But let's get everyone out of here. Dealer, brother, thank you so much for joining us for 2 hours. Again, love what you do on RDX. A big congratulations, crossing 110,000 subscribers, man. That is a monster achievement. You got your plaque and everything. You should have taken a picture, and if I missed that, I apologize. Please.
No, I didn't post it. I mean, okay, I got that forever ago, but yeah. Thanks, man.
Okay,
thanks for having me on, by the way. It's been a while.
Yes.
I didn't do a lot of podcasts this past year compared to, before. And that tends to make people think you don't like them or anything like that. Just letting you know, it ain't nothing personal. I've been moving around and doing a lot of things and dealing with a lot of shit personally, but I do want to thank everyone who stopped by and watched the show. We're not normally negative assholes like this.
No.
This was very negative because of Everborn Saga, of course. And this, we're not normally that. Jokes aside, seriously, we like to talk about the positivity as much as possible. I actually destroy people on my own show that just harp on the negative stuff constantly. Get it out there, deal with it. If it continues to persist, continue to talk about it. But, I was kind of negative on 3 for 3 last night, though. But,
No, but you know what?
You can't really make any excuses for him anymore.
Deserved, man. Deserved,
it's crazy.
100%.
That's
what we call the righteous smoke. Don't worry, you good.
We had Joe on there while I was doing it, and some people are like, well, you just said don't attack developers. No, we're talking about doxing and sending them fucking dick pics and stuff. You criticize a team all you want. Like, it's your job as a consumer to, talk when you're not being satisfied, as Everborn would say. So, of course, I just want to say thanks for having me on. You guys, obviously, maybe I can have some of you guys on the show here, maybe in the next couple months. And of course, absolutely. If you don't follow me, Dealer Gaming on YouTube, @Dealer_Gaming on Twitter, and I space Dealer space II on Xbox Live, where we can play some games. Playing a lot of zombies here lately in Vanguard, and maybe send me a message there. We can squad up.
Yeah, sounds good, Dealer. Thanks again for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate it. Again, Dealer Gaming on YouTube, Dealer_ on Twitter, _gaming on Twitter. Like I said, I don't think that there's anybody in this 400 people still here that don't know Dealer if you know me, because obviously he's a big Xbox dude as well. Kay Asante, sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can check out your show on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, where can they reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media?
Yeah. I will first and foremost say I appreciate everyone who came out, had constructive criticism, constructive conversation. Whether you agree or you disagree, you're in the chat, just being a part of the conversation, not being a little too salty, and we appreciate that. That's great. We can all be adults because we're adults in this room, and we like having that intellectual conversation. So thank you guys so much. By and large, the chat was clean, and we were able to have a great convo. So thank you guys so much for doing that. And of course, my awesome panel members, my PTG brethren, as well as the legendary Dealer Gaming. Thank you, sir, for lending us your voice. It's always great to have you podcasting with you and being listening to all of the very interesting takes that you have. Because, the man's got some takes that you have to listen to. And we appreciate
no weird fucking takes. I mean, it ain't my fault. The worst one, damn Delta, I still got 2 today. And how would I know Microsoft themselves would not even push things like ray tracing their own damn box for the first 2 years of the consoles. Would you have thought about that and be like, Xbox, they don't turn Halo still. They don't even do ray tracing in Forza Horizon 60 FPS mode when it's possible. not using ARA too fierce. Like, who would have thought that, right? I mean, it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Exactly. See, and we've been talking about that for a while. Like, they always put their worst foot forward. And why would you think the first game that would show off your next gen is the Dragon Engine? Really? Like, really? That's what you want to use to show off your next, like, okay. But that's neither here nor there. So sometimes you need to say that, and people need to hear you. And then they'll go, why is the Dragon Engine so bad? And then you'll go, even on PC where you have like 64 gigs, that thing is dog slow. But that's neither here nor there. So we appreciate you coming here and sometimes giving people, a bit of that detail that they may have lost while having the back and forth. So definitely appreciate you on here, sir. You can find me, TKO Asante, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, and anywhere you want to have a great conversation. You follow me, I follow you back. These days on Twitter, I'm like the retro guy. I'm like seeing how many weird consoles I can get the Steam Deck to play. I'm on PS3 emulation now, so there you go. As PixelBitG said to me on Twitter, I thought PlayStation said that was impossible. Yeah. Okay. So I'm emulating PS3 now. It's real fun. I'm trying to figure out all these things.
You're
so
a tinkerer.
Follow me
brother.
on Twitter.
You are.
I enjoy the tinker. Yes. That thing was made for me. Maybe not for everybody. For me, I'm totally enjoying it. But we do the Gaming Circle podcast on Saturdays. Myself and Mr. Everborn Saga. We'll see how this weekend goes. You'll be hearing more from us on that. So follow us on the socials.
It's gonna be a Steam Deck show. Just don't.
You think so?
That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, I guess
more than likely.
I guess we're hearing it first because Mr. Everborn was anti Steam Deck until he got one in his hands.
No,
and he might still be anti Steam Deck.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Who
knows? It might still be.
In the chat says dealers internet is ass, and in fact,
we
just lost dealers. So he started botting as he was leaving. Uh-huh. So thank goodness the internet gods allowed him to speak his righteous smoke.
Yep. No, so yeah, you'll hear about all the goings on what we're doing this Saturday. But appreciate everybody tuning in, being here. Always great to have awesome conversation with the community. So we'll definitely see you guys next week.
Absolutely. And Wandering Dutch, brother, sell your brand. I know that you are on your way to 2K, and we want to get you to 5 because you guys do an amazing job at your weekly show. You have stuff on the weekend. You are really put your nose to the grindstone to deliver great content, and we want to see you keep on succeeding. Sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, subscribe to your outstanding YouTube channel.
Yes, thank you, Boom. And again, even though Dealer's botted out and disappeared into the void of internet realms,
he transformed. He's flying away as we speak.
Yeah, big shout out to him as well. Of course, we'll have to get him back in the mix up again at some point. It has been a little while, and obviously have to transfer over to RDX again because it has been a while to be on that as well. So I have to swap and do that again. But awesome show as always. Yes. You can find us everywhere at Wandering Dutch, the home of the midweek mix-up on YouTube. We obviously have 3 shows now, so we have the Sea of Thieves stream every Tuesday now.
That's
with about
cool.
Anything from 6 to 8 of us always playing every week with
awesome.
2 crews full, which is quite fun. Again, on Wednesdays for the main show, the main midweek mix-up. And now our Sunday show, which is kind of a breakdown of smaller things and some pop culture things. Like, for instance, we spoke on Stranger Things wrap-up season 4 review on.
Oh boy, I need to talk to you about that, Dutch man. I need to have a conversation. Oh, damn it! All right.
We spoke about the Halo show. So basically, Sundays is just about anything to do with TV, like good sci-fi kind of pop culture TV series or gaming news, whatever it is. Tickles our fancy on that show. But yeah, it's awesome. So 3 shows a week now. Really going good. And we are just shy of that 1,600 mark, crawling towards 2,000. But it's awesome. Again, the support from the community as they do every week here and across on my channel as well has been absolutely awesome. So shout out to the chat and shout out to the community here. It's always awesome, and of course we can only do with your support. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And last but not least, Everborn Saga. Obviously, you will hopefully be attending New York Comic-Con, selling your brand of the Everborn Saga. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, buy your books, bro.
Yeah, man. So it's hopefully we'll work out the New York Comic Con thing, but there's also Anime NYC, so you guys got to wish me luck for that. See that? There we go. Right in the camera. Listen, I need the community. If you have the book, start tweeting about it. Let these Comic Con guys see what we're doing over here in the Everborn Saga. But where you buy this book is everbornsaga.com. Check it out. I promise you will not be disappointed. And on a side note, for those of you who don't know, my Steam Deck came today, and it was a whole heap of troubleshooting and entering into terminal consoles and putting in these commands and changing configurations.
And this is coming from a developer who also makes games.
Again,
I'm just saying.
Again, I have to put on the game player hat to do all of this just to play Game Pass. But it is what it is. Might be an
issue between the keyboard and the seat. I'm just saying.
You're making excuses for the tech. But Steam Deck is very interesting. I was gonna sell it. I might not now. We're gonna see. We'll see how good this. Right. I played xCloud on it. It's very smooth. Very smooth. Played.
I told you.
This is why Microsoft needs their own handheld. But
I don't know, Boom, because if you set this up. It might be good. Like a native experience. I don't know. We got to see here.
Hey,
might be good. Oh, dealer's back.
Oh my God, my internet! I told you it might go out during the show. It literally did it right after my outro.
Dude, I was saying thank the gaming gods that we got a chance to get all your righteous smoke before you bought it out. So welcome back. But
yeah, I just want to show up because I would never just jump out of the show like that.
Oh yeah, no, we understand, brother. Listen, we definitely appreciate it. But Everborn Saga, again, we hope that you get into Comic-Con. I'd love to see them sell your wares some more.
Get into Comic-Con see what you do next. Again, we got in last year. We should get in this year.
You should get in again. Yeah, you should be a repeat customer for sure.
We want Anime NYC, and everybody, again, go to everbornsaga.com and look at these amazing books that we make. And we're going to, there we go.
All right, well,
like I said, everybody, if you have the book, take a picture of it. Just
put it on
tell
the
people
socials.
about it.
Put them on the Twitters, as the kids say.
Spread the word, Big Bird.
Yes, absolutely. But listen, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Big shout out to the super chats that come in. Those allow Mrs. BoomStick and I to do the big giveaways, and we are doing one the third Friday of July. That would be Breakfast with Boom. We're giving away $400 worth of digital cards to your choice. 8 $50 gift cards. If you live outside of the country, let's say, for instance, you're in Germany or you're in another part of the world, and a lot of the channels, they don't honor that. We will figure out a way. Hopefully, you have a PayPal, and we will pay the fee, and we will pay the transition from our funds to your funds, even if it's more, to make sure that if you support Double Barrel Gaming, we will make sure that you get your prize. And all you got to do is be in the chat, and we'll let the picker pick the winner, as we all do. 4 up front, 4 towards the back end of the show. And that's going to be the third Friday of July. That's going to be a Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, I'm going to close out today's show with something that's important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.